so much. Hello, everybody out there. Hi, great to be here. Thank you. Very excited. Thank you, DJ Rankin, the best DJ in the world. Well, it's been a great event so far, and I love what Katie had to say this morning. All relates to what I'm going to talk about the infinite game. Part of the business is definitely inviting people to look at what Jeunesse is. So today, I've been given the topic called the art of inviting. Well, inviting or pretty much just talking with people, sharing, it is definitely an art. And this is something that, for me, as somebody coming from traditional business and also just having many businesses over a period of time, this was something that I did, but I had no idea I was doing it. I had no idea how to grow my business. And this is very essential, what we're going to talk about today. So again, inviting to sharing about what Jeunesse is. It is an art. So DJ Rankin mentioned, you know what? Nowadays, a lot of people are inviting virtually, right? Well, that is part of the game now since all the shutdowns around the world, etc. But because of technology, people have been doing that. I remember actually many years ago when I first started in the industry in 2005. It was by telephone, text and telephone, and that was it. But today I want to share with you some of the principles that is true, tried and true, no matter 15 years ago or today. So now, given that, just before we start the slideshow, that what I'm going to talk about today, I believe it applies to all the different ways of communication. So it's important that we grasp, these ideas and apply it in how we communicate. And I fully understand that everybody does communicate differently. So let's see if the slide can move forward here. All right. So anyway, thank you. So I believe one of the first things you got to do before you talk to anybody is to prime the pump. Now, for those of you who don't know what that means, it's like when you're at a well. If you're out in the farm and there's a well and there's a pump to pump the water up, you got to get the pump ready. You gotta oil it up. You got to put everything in place, and then before you start cranking, before you proceed. So what that means is just be prepared. How to prepare yourself before sharing or talking with anybody? Well, you got to bring your energy up. Some of you out there are very excitable type, and other ones are very, very calm, right? So, and that's okay because the energy, what I mean is just be prepared what you're gonna do. So how you do that? What you should motivate yourself. You know, the truth is nobody can motivate you. They might be able to inspire you, but it's still only you who motivate yourself because the motivation comes from within. So before you do that, I would suggest, especially for the newbies out there, remind yourself, write down or have that list of why you're in the business. Put it in front of you. Think about it, visualize it. And you know what? Success, to achieve success, those are the things that maybe benchmark success for you. Maybe live in a better house or get a better car or having more money in the bank, having more resources to provide your kids or send them to college. That's what you're trying to do. Or maybe you need some extra money to save up for retirement, which you've never done, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. Or travel the world. Put that list in front of you, literally in front of you before you talk to anybody, or remind yourself of that. And so get yourself pumped up. And in terms of bringing up the energy, Tony Robbins, Katie mentioned during the Global Expo last month, talk about elevating our state, a state of being, and that's all within. Now, bringing up your energy, yeah, it can mean being very excited about something, or it can be bringing up the intensity. of how you're going to communicate, how serious you're going to communicate, etc. So bring up your energy, get your motivation going. So and put that even in front of you as you start to work on talking with other people. Now, let's go to the next slide here. All right. Okay, so one of the people I love, and he has an amazing quote of Mr. Motivator himself, he's always motivated, is Mr. Mark McDonald. Many of you saw him this morning leading an incredible workout. He says, good energy gets no result. Great energy gets some result. Massive energy gets great result. Now, I know some of you out there are taking a screenshot right now, but I cannot say it like Mark, but for sure, you know what? It takes all of you to create success. So, to create success in anything, all of you, the whole being of you. So what you got to do is get ready. All right, bring that energy up. Okay. So next slide. All right, let's see. So in terms of mastering the art of inviting, well, when you start sharing, you could be texting, you could be calling, you could be, FaceTiming, WhatsApping, doing video or on Zoom. It's always about warming up. I mean, there's an old saying: nobody listens to what you have to say unless they know that you care about them. That's how it is. So that's how people communicate, because it is about trust, right? I mean, uh, so what you got to do is do a warm up, like get just a little chit chat, say how you're doing, get to know them, and what's been happening. Establish that trust. That is very important. So you're not like jumping on them right away. Oh, guess what I found out about Janess? Well, it is an art. So look, if it's somebody that's extremely close to me, you know, and I know they're open all the time, of course my approach would be more direct, right? Maybe I'll get to the point faster, but in general, you need some warming up, all right? So get to know them. And especially, I would caution that, look, in texting, social media, it's a different way to communicate. And depending on the generation, depending on who you're going to talk to, they're going to receive it differently, right? So it's very important. One of the things that I've learned and heard of through NLP, next slide, if somebody can help me, is that, in NLP, neuro linguistic programming, it breaks down how we communicate or what gets communicated. As a matter of fact, only 7% of communication use words. All right, think about that for a second. Do words matter? Yes, but 7% is literally of communication is from just the words itself. That means if you text, you're only getting 7% of your meaning across. Now, the 38% of communication is about tone and the context of which you use those words, right? Like the energy, like you can say, I love you, I love you, I love you. It could all mean different things, right? You get what I'm saying, right? And of course, context is very important. And then you know what? 55% communication is done by facial or body language. So if you think about that, that encompasses 100% of how we communicate. So how to do effectively? Well, I believe you got a better idea after just learning about this fact. Okay, next slide, please. So the next thing then, after you warm up and talk and try to, and there's an open line of communication, and if it's the right timing for the other person, right? You want to get them in a good mood where they're not so busy. You got to catch them, or maybe even make a time to call them, right? So important that when you pique the interest to see if they're interested, or how do we find out if somebody is interested in what we have to share? Well, you do that by asking questions. That's how you find things out. What are the questions? How do you ask questions? The basic words are who, what, when, why, where, and how. Is that simple? Write those words down. You don't know how to ask questions. Well, besides your list of your dreams, put the list of questions, I mean, literally the words of who, what, when, why, where, and how next to it, so you know how to ask the questions. So and a lot of times, you can by the question you ask of how they're doing and all that, you find out how they are and what they need, what they're lacking. The conversation, and you can actually lead the question by asking the right questions. What recently I would just tell you, I want to make you all aware. I have some great partners in Singapore, and they've been in it for a while, and some leaders came in soon after. Well, since 2012, we've been working that market, but recently there's an explosion of growth, and so through talking, the idea of what people are just sick and tired of this of what's going on, the situation where the economy is changing because jobs are being lost, or the idea that people have to lock down, cannot gather in large gathering, and the COVID thing. Well, people are just tired of that, and they're seriously thinking that and realizing that their life is not going to be like before. So what do they need to do? They need to look for their plan B. That's a huge thing right there. And I remember when we started in 2009 in Jeunesse, that was the thing. Same thing in North America and in most of the world. The financial crisis had hit the world, so people were looking for opportunity. So it just comes to mind, this kind of, a lot of people, they have that need right now. And the thing is, look, besides piquing interest, then you got to know what to share and how to share, right? So if someone can help me advance a slide, it'll be great. All right. All right. So, okay, here we go. So one of the most important things you need to share, a lot of people ask me, Samson, what I share is you got to know and use your story. That, we don't need to be, we don't need to invent anything, but your story is very powerful. It doesn't matter what your background is, it's a matter of how you tell it. And we all know how to tell our story to a certain degree. Can we get better? Yeah, we can get better by writing it down, fine tuning, add more adjectives, make sure it's concise, we are on point, etc. Know your story and tell your story, because the people that you talk to, they're very likely that they know of you, right? So, and how well they know you, it depends on how far or how close they are to you, right? So people know you to a certain degree. In the old days, it's like, we're in our business, we talk to people that know us by name, and we know them by name. Or some people go as far as the 3 feet rule. We talk to anybody within 3 feet. Well, now it's 6 feet and beyond, right? Well, nowadays, a lot of the time is people can look on your Facebook, Instagram, they can see who you are and what you're about, but they still don't know you. Why? 7% of communication is just words, okay? And pictures, it might add a little bit, but look, there's no power, there's no feel, there's no personal touch just by social media, just by print, okay, and just by pictures and words. It needs to be a human connection. All right. So your story, what moves you? What you see here? Why are you here? Why are you on this platform? Why you do what you do, and for who you do it for, why you do it for. That's your story. It's very powerful, because you know what? When you share your desires and dreams and needs, other people might have the same. They might start to realize you're speaking to their heart without having themselves reveal themselves to you. So just by sharing your story, it resonates with them. It will resonate with them, because especially right now, we're in a very unique time where people are busy and people are not busy, and people are definitely rethinking about their lives. Okay, so let's move on to the next slide. All right. So then the question is, when you get to a point and you talk to them, are they open to doing something about their situation? Are they open to a plan B? Well, if you feel that they are, or if they're into health, they need to be healthy. They want to stay healthy. Well, then you start sharing about specific. For sure, example. Just keep in mind that the product and the company. Look, it's not for everybody. It's not for everybody. Not everybody want their own business. Not everybody, believe in supplement or skincare. That's okay. But you know what? You got to go through the numbers and ask them if they're open, fulfilling their needs and desire. That's very important. That's something that, we don't need to push anything on anybody. What your job is to go through as many people as possible to find the people that are open, that have an open ear. A lot of times the hardest part of the business is to take the rejection, right? But let me tell you, they're not rejecting you. You are the messenger. They're rejecting the message. So don't take it personally. When I first started, I never call anybody to ask for anything. Yeah, I would talk to a friend and, hey, did you see that good movie? And I would share about it, right? But you know what? It could be as easy as that. So when I first started, I felt afraid to talk to people about the making money and all that because I haven't made money yet. Well, I thought, you know what? How about this? I take that part of the fear out of the equation. So literally, I would call people just chit chat, but I would sit down and call 20 people in an hour just to get the feel, right? But you know what? I realized after the first 5 to 10 people, the fear is gone. It was so easy because once you get to know them and how they're doing, etc., they'll talk about themselves. Many times they ask you, "What are you up to?" And I'm thinking, well, I'm glad you asked. So you know what? Take small steps, to get over the fear. Take small steps. And when you take that fear, the thing that you're afraid to talk to them about out of the equation, and you just sit down and go through the process, you realize that, you know what? It's not as hard as it seems. You're not that afraid anymore. So now, next slide, please. So that is a very important question. Are they open? Now, if they are, then that's where you can give them the invitation. You can do a direct invitation, indirect, and those two are very important. So let's say you're sharing and they're interested in the products and also the business. Well, then you invite them. Invite them to what? Invite them. You can invite them to a video. You can invite them to do a Zoom. You can invite them to do an opportunity webinar. You can invite them to see the website. You can invite them to look at different things. So you can reply them and say, hey, are you open? And what you got to do is you got to be quiet and just wait for the answer. And if they are, then keep talking. And I would say that the invitation is best delivered either verbally or on video, because it's very difficult to do it on text. I mean, nowadays, because of social media, people are a little flaky or people are busy. So it's important that, again, everything you do, it needs to be quality time and quality information. Now, the other approach, indirect, is, let's say, if I share with a friend of mine who's very successful, and I have this huge project called Jeunesse, and I was just asked, do you have time? Maybe you can give me some tips of how to, do the business since you're so successful. So that's what, in a way, it's an indirect invitation. There's many types, but I'm just asking for advice, asking for their expertise, or just to share with them what you're doing. And look, there's no commitment, whatever. Just be a part of something. That's indirect. Okay, now, but very important during the invitation that you edify what you're inviting them to. Okay, and with who? Because a lot of times people say, oh, no, just get on this and you find more information. There's no edification there. Edification means saying something good about what you're inviting them to or who they're talking to. So they will respect the event. They will recognize how important it is. Next slide, please. A lot of times, it's not a matter of the words we use, but how important we make it. If it's important for you and it's important for them, they need to be on it, So make it important to them. Give them the instruction of how to attend the event or to see the information. And what I would suggest is, highly recommend, is follow-up, because follow-up is very important. Schedule a follow-up before they look at the information. So you know what? Today, we're going to get on a phone call with a friend of mine, and after we talk, we're going to talk immediately. So make sure we have enough time to talk seriously about this opportunity. Or, hey, you know what? after the information, after I send you the information on the product, I will give you a call. When's a good when you're gonna have time to look at it, and let me call you at that time. Is that good? So I always schedule a follow up after the event, but I will schedule it during the invitation. So they expect me to follow up with them. So that's good. I look in a way. Don't worry about chasing or whatever, because what you are doing is you are providing an exemplary example of good service of good assistance to them. So make sure they get the right information and they're doing the right way. And the last thing I would say is, the 4 SWs, SW, 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 SW next. Some will look at it, some will join you, some will buy the product, some won't. Okay, so what? Someone's waiting. Next. So you got to keep moving. Don't bet on any one person. For sure they're out there. It's just a matter of going through the numbers. Look, whatever number you have, let's say you expect, let's say, your partners, your leaders, they tell you that, work the business. Look, if you talk to 10 people, you might sign up 2 or 3, either customer or partner. Well, you know what? You talk to 100, you get 20 to 30 or more. But let me tell you, from my experience, if you do a good job in edification, if you do a good job in follow-up, if you do a good job in inviting and know how to overcome the objection, that number goes from 10, 20, 30% to a lot more. So to reach success, this is the art of inviting, and it is an art. So an art takes a lot of practice, and you got to start from the basic. So I wish all of you out there, practice the art. It's like anything else. The more you do, the better you get. You want to be successful sooner or later. If you want to be sooner, then do more. You learn more. And then the last tip I would say is I would say maybe, look, if you go through 5 to 10 people, contacted them, always be in touch with your sponsor or your leader to share with them how you're doing. And then that they give you feedback on what you could do better. All right? Asking for help is not because you're weak. Asking for help is to stay strong. That's how it works, folks. So thank you so much. Wish everybody stay safe, and let's move the business forward, because this is the time. People are looking for opportunity. Thank you. Hey, DJ.
Great job, Samson Li, double diamond director. You know what that means? Pretty much everything that comes out of his mouth, you need to be taking notes on. This guy knows what he's talking about. And Samson, I love how you said